If you got any questions you guys want to ask right now, please do that. Or if you want to hit me up later on, that's fine too. Okay, I don't want to take a lot of your time, but I do want to hit as much of this stuff as I can. All right, so when you run buck, okay, if you're going to run buck sweep, you're going to have different problems you've got to answer. And that's what I want to walk through inside of this. So there, in my mind, there's 3 major problems, and inside of those, there's kind of smaller versions of them. So you're going to have issues on the play side. You know, we'll walk through, like they got a 9 technique or a 6 technique that's an animal and you can't block them. Okay, or they have a 9 technique and an outside line. They've kind of overloaded you with numbers, or their corners making every tackle, or a safety's coming down making every tackle. You know, or they've got a good penetrating 5 technique. You know, you've got all those different things on the play side that can be a problem. All right. You've got backside issues. You know, you've got a backside inside linebacker that for whatever reason he's coming through there making tackles, or they got a backside 4-eye or a 3 that's coming down the heel line and you can't get him cut or whatever, and he's making all kinds of plays. And you have middle issues in the middle. They're blitzing. Maybe they got double A gap going on, or they got a really good stud, you know, 1 technique or a nose that's killing your center. You know, so how are you going to answer all of these things? If you're going to run buck sweep, you got to have answers for these, you know, because you don't want to get into a game and they got a really good nose, and so now you can't run that play, you know. And so, but you also have to understand that for everything you give up, so every time you get out of your base, what I call base for buck sweep is when you run gap down backer on the play side. For you guys that are new to buck sweep or new to wing T, it simply means for us, let me pull up a film. Our strong tackle over is going to block gap down backer. We'll skip ahead here real quick. Okay, go to drills here in a minute. Let me find, here we go. Okay, I got it pulled up here. So gap down backer for me would be our wing, our tight end, and our strong tackle. So all these 3 guys to the right block the first thing inside. Okay, you can almost just teach it that way, but we gap down backer to stay true to wing T. I block the guy in the gap, the guy head up my buddy, okay, or I go to a linebacker. So that's our true idea on buck. We're going to pull our strong guard and kick the first thing outside of the wing. We're going to pull our quick guard and kick the first, and wrap to whatever linebacker, generally a backside linebacker. And then our center is going to block man to backside. So do I have a head up or backside? And I'll draw all this stuff up, and I'm going to show you a bunch of different fronts on here as well. And then for us in our base world, our quick tackle would either cut or step hinge. So block in, make sure there's no blitzer, and then block back on the 5 technique. That's our base. Okay, so when I say base, that's how we run buck sweep. Okay. Before though I can get into all the different things on adjusting, I want to hit, you got to be good on the fundamentals to run buck. Okay, so what we want to run when we run buck sweep is we want our running back to be that tight to the guard, where he literally has his hand on him. That guard's eyes need to be inside. You see he's doing a good job right there. Okay, and so before you can get into running RPOs or adjusting blocking, you got to get really good at down blocking. You got to get really good at pull kicking and pull wrapping. And then your running backs, to me, the most underrated part is your running backs have got to get to where they will go and hug up on that guard because that's what's going to make it right. Okay, let me see if I can get to the next one. So you see pictures of us. I mean, look at this one. We're actually getting tackled, but he literally is grabbing the guard's jersey. That's what we want. We want him so tight on the guard, okay, that he is going to be hugged up on him. We tell our running backs, you make the guard right. You shove them into the block. And we tell our guards, wherever you go, we're going to follow. And it makes whatever that to us. If we run buck and we get 4 yards, I'm going to run buck again. That's kind of my mindset. So where I'm coming from. So we want them that tight. All right. So to do that, you got to be good at down blocking. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on drills because I think mainly you guys came in here to hear adjustments. But down blocking drills, you need to adjust your, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back here. You need to adjust your individual drills to what you might see. So here's what I mean by that. We're going to down block day 1, the old school wing T. We're going to get our head across. Let me play the video here. We're going to get our head across, and we're going to run our feet, and we're going to bring it into the back hip. That's day 1, the way we teach it. Okay, so we're installing this. Whenever we get to come back and install stuff, that's what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to down block like this, right? If we're playing a team that is a penetrating team, so a team that's going to come up field, a penetrating team, that's how we're going to block it. Get your head across to cut them off. If we're playing a team, because one of the problems that we see is a team that wants to play up over the top of us. So they want to slam and read, and then they want to come over the top, okay? We actually will adjust our down block drills that week to step to the back hip, okay? Which I understand if they shoot, that's fine, but you've probably watched 3 or 4 weeks of film and you've realized that's not what they do. They're anchor defensive linemen. So you need to adjust your drill, okay, on your aiming point. It doesn't change everything you're doing. It just works on your aiming point, okay, where he's going to step, and now he's going to work on turning his butt more to the end zone. You can kind of see it on this. We're going to turn that rear end because on buck sweep for us, we're okay with a little penetration. We don't want them getting to the side, okay? I've shown this drill a bunch of times. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but I do want to hit on the fact that when we teach getting close to our guard, this is what I mean. Okay? And this is like a gazillion miles an hour because my computer sucks. But so I'll slow it down for you guys. So we're going to pull and kick. And by the way, these are all ninth. Well, most of these are ninth graders right here. We want our guard to give him an aiming point. And there's a towel hanging in the back of his shorts, if you guys can see that. And our running back is trying to get to, like, where his eyes are. So we'll stop it right there. Look where that running back's eyes are. We have his eyes on the guard, right on the butt, which is where we want his eyes to go. Because if the guard seals in, we cut out. If the guard blocks out, we cut in. So that's the first 2 drills we're going to work on to make sure we're getting the down block and the wrap and everything else we want correctly. And then we will graduate it up. So now we're going to go, okay, so now we're going to put coaches there or dummies there. Okay, sometimes we're both. Okay, so now we're running the same drill in our pods. So we work down block with our strong tackles, our centers, and our quick tackles, kind of double time. They get double time of that. Okay, while our guards, because they're the only ones in our offense that pull, get this every day. They get a version of either the hurdle drill or live action. Okay, and now we're working our pull kick, pull wrap, and we'll move it. This is what we call bypass, which is one of the adjustments I'm going to give you. So we have a tight 9 technique we got to kick, and we got our coach put in there tight. So he's tight. It's going to hit inside. Okay. We're also working our running back. If you'll watch, it's kind of subtle. You'll watch our running back because we've taught him enough. His arm will come out here late, like where he's trying to touch that guard. Okay, and he goes right by him and reads the cut. You also will watch on your kickouts. I want to get into a whole buck sweep there because it's mainly for adjustments, but make sure your guard's head is on the right shoulder. He wants to be on the upfield shoulder. So like right here, we want to kick, okay? We will talk about log here in a little bit because we're going to get to adjustments. Mainly, we're wanting to kick right there. So that's the next drill we run as we graduate up on drills, okay? And for us, we adjust steps for our linemen. I think we've got some questions kind of coming in. We adjust steps on drills. I'm about to move off of drills, guys. If you've got any questions on drills, go ahead and hit them, because I'm going to get into mainly scheme stuff next. But for us, our strong guard, we teach him to get deep. So he's going to pulling a lawnmower to get his shoulders squared. And then we want him coming uphill. So what that means is it's not like really a flat. He's actually coming towards the line of scrimmage. So he's got to get a little bit of depth on his first step back. A lot of times we'll cheat his stance back, okay? And then I got taught on our backside guard. Our coach has convinced me, he's mad at me because I'm making him use shoots, because I'm wing T and that's what we're going to do. But I've gone with him on allowing the skip pull on our pull wrap for buck. I didn't think that would work because I was old school, but our linemen now are turning into more of real linemen. We used to have little bitty dudes in there and I wanted them to pull and sprint and get out there. Well, now we're getting real linemen. So we want to try to keep their shoulders square as much as possible. And they're getting pretty good at a skip step. If you don't know what that is, which I didn't know what that is, it's basically what old power football teams will run, which is where my old line coach got it from because he played at Tech and at Arkansas Tech. Anyway, they'll keep their shoulders square and they kick their heel behind their other heel to get the width. And what the idea is it keeps their eyes downfield. Okay, it keeps their eyes downfield. I wonder if he's doing a skip step on this one. Yeah, he is. He's working a skip step here. So if you watch our guard right here, he will actually, this leg, and I hate that I'm already in the middle of the clip, but this leg is going behind. So his right leg is going behind his left leg. That helps him get the width that he needs quickly by keeping his shoulders and everything upfield. So if you run power, it's the same type of pull. We're just kicking him out wider to get the seal, okay? And then we're working on whatever's going on. We really like that because we run buck tight. Like we try to run buck pretty tight. We don't really want to hit wide because you can look at the kids I'm dealing with right there, and wide is a loss of yardage. You know, we're downhill. That's how we have to go to get yards. We're running sideways, we're not going to outrun anybody, okay? All right, so that's drills, okay? Now, let's get into problems you'll see when we get into scheme. Okay, so when you run buck sweep, you're going to have, like I said, 3 problems. I'm going to deal with each one of these. So we're going to start off with play side problems on the play side. Okay, and then we'll deal with backside issues, and then we'll deal with problems with A gap or blitzers or all that kind of stuff that may happen. Okay, so play side issues that we know of are you got a stud 9 technique, 6 technique, 7 technique, some kind of animal in there that is just I got a wing trying to block that guy, and it ain't going real well, okay? We could have a really good spiller or like a force player who's coming out of space and he's just blowing stuff up, okay? We could have a really good shooter at inside linebacker, or they're going to walk him up and blitz him a bunch. He's just guessing and blitzing a bunch. Or you can be outnumbered, okay? Just simple, they have more guys than you do. And you know, when you run buck the way we do, that's very possible. Okay, so I'm going to deal with a 9 technique first, all right? And this is all film. So guys, here's where you get questions, please do hit them. So one of the ways we deal with a 9 technique, I'm actually going to go out of order on this. The first what we're going to do is we're going to double him. We've got a 9 technique in there. Our wing cannot handle him, okay? We're going to double, which means we're going to allow our tight end to use his outside arm. Now, his eyes have to stay inside, okay? So in this case, here's our tight end. He is going to get vertical push, so he's not going to let that guy get up inside. He's going to get vertical push on him, and now all our wing has to do essentially is seal him. He's going to almost allow the hit to happen and then come in with his butt and hit him right in the side, kind of hit him right in the ribs, okay? So this is what we would consider to be a double team. You can see right here we're getting pushed with our tight end, okay? And here comes the seal, boom. And then he'll come off it. Now, the risks that you're seeing on this, I'm going to let it play and I'll kind of go through it. The risk that you're seeing on this is if that inside linebacker didn't suck like he did, he's going to be able to shoot that gap. So our tight end's got to keep his eyes up. So understand, anytime you start messing with your rules or making adjustments, somebody is going to, you know, you're messing with your rules. And so that means it's not going to be perfect. But in our case, we felt like this kid, and that was the truth, this kid was better than their linebacker. And usually if you're going to run buck a lot, that's where they're going to put their best defensive end. Okay, so that's the first way we'll handle it. All right. The second way we'll handle it is we'll just bypass him, which means we will allow him to come upfield, and now our wing will not block him. So that means our wing should be down blocking that 9 technique, and he doesn't, and we kick him and run a gap tighter. Okay, so now we're going to run a gap tighter, almost like old school power. I'll pause it here for you guys. So right here, we should be blocking this guy with our wing. Okay, but we couldn't. I mean, that's just one of the deals where that gives a sophomore right there for me. I was a senior for them. He was better than our kid. And so we just said, all right, just bypass him. Okay, make sure you kind of go right around him and go block inside. And then we're going to kick. We're going to kick. Okay, and by the way, this is older film, you can tell, because we're not pull skipping our backside guard. We kick him, and then we cut up underneath it. Okay, now if our running back hadn't decided to dance to the sideline, we had a good little hole there. Well, those are the 2 ways we're going to handle a 9 technique. We're either going to double him or we're going to bypass him. Now, here's the problems you're going to have with both of those. Okay, if you bypass him, you're going to have an unblocked outside player, like a safety or a corner or whatever, because you're not getting that guy blocked. You're leaving him alone. He can fall in on the tackle. Okay, so that's a problem you may have. So you got to decide who's more dangerous, the 9 technique or that spatial player. Okay, if you double team him, your issues are going to become that inside linebacker. If he's really good and your tight end doesn't get his eyes inside, he can shoot. So you've got to kind of make a choice there. Which one's the bigger problem for you, and go from there. And then Greg's got a question. Do we work all our adjustments all the time? Because we don't know what we're going to see because we live in this set. If you guys are more balanced than us and Buck's kind of something you play with instead of live with, I would probably, you don't need to work them as much. But for us, we're going to run Buck no matter what. This team was a 3-front team. They were a 3-4 team. And you see how they're lined up against us, that's not a 3-4. And so we see it all the time. So we've got to work these things all the time to be ready for it. All right. Say bluff the tight D in and block the corner with the wing. We can. We've done that before. We call that arc. I wasn't going to get into that on this one. We'll just call it arc, which will tell that wing to go arc and block outside. So that gives us another thing to do. In my experience, we want to leave the corner unblocked more than the inside linebacker unblocked. And just because that's just how we kind of think of things. And you can do an out call. That's good too. All right, so that's a 9 technique. All right, so the other issue you guys are going to have is you're going to have number issues. So number issues, they got more guys than we got. Okay, so we'll do 2 or 3 things to this. Generally, this is formation. We're going to do something with our formation to get a guy out. Here's what we see a lot from 4-front teams. That's why one of our answers to a 4-front team is their force player is generally a secondary player. A 3-front team, they're going to force with an outside linebacker, probably. Or a 4-front team is going to have to roll down a safety to play force, okay? And so, or a corner, which is even better, to play force. So we use what we call flop, okay? So what means we're going to flop out, which means we're going to take our slot receiver and go tight end, wing, and another guy. And now, how are they going to play me? Are they going to invert? Okay, or are they just going to, a lot of times we've seen teams just take that force player and go out and cover. Well, now your force player's gone. Okay, so now we're going to double down and log, right? So that's one way we'll do it is by formation, we'll hit it, and that gives us space, okay? And that could make me look good, so don't really watch the film. I wasn't really wanting that. It was mainly the formation, although he did make me look like a genius. This is now illegal, so don't do, we get a crack block somewhere there. But anyway, by formation, this kid had been making tackles. So by formation, we moved him out of the box, right? We've also done what we call like a double over. So now we go tight end, wing, receiver, and receiver, and now we got quads out there. So you can go overloads. That's another way you can handle it. We've done things where we've moved our tackle, our quick tackle over. So now you got a stud 9 technique. Okay, let's move our quick tackle over there. Okay, I'm trying to pull up the film. I don't think I got to get it up here, but we played one year. We played Warren, who in Arkansas is really, really good. I'm going to see if I can find that film because it was one of the smarter things I've done. Okay, so I'm not the smartest all the time, but I was in this case. I didn't find it here. I think that's it. 33, is that it? No, that's not it. All right, well, I've got it in here somewhere. Hang on, let me find it real quickly for you guys. It's worth it. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find it, guys. I tried to have it pulled up for you guys this morning. Of course, it's not gonna work for me. Anyway, I might draw it up for you guys. Let me see if I can get back in here. All right, can everybody see behind me? Okay, I'll try to pull this where you can see a little better. Some of you guys were already asking too about not running a tight end. So that's the other way we'll handle these 9 techniques. Okay. So one year we went over. So we brought, give me a minute. We brought our quick tackle over. You can see. So we brought our guy over and we flexed him. So we put our wing here and we flexed our tight end right there. I don't know if y'all can see this real well, but right here. And we put our 260-pound all-state tackle right there, okay? They put their kid that signed with Arkansas right here because he'd been taught to line up between the last man and the wing. And so our wing couldn't block him, but we could block him right there with a kill shot from a flex look. And so that's another way you can do it, is to by formation you can flex. Okay. All right, you got a question? I don't want to get it. So PVC pipes for us guys are 5 foot tall, 3 foot wide. Okay, 5 foot tall, 3 foot wide, and or 4 foot tall for the chutes. I got a question on that. All right, let's go into other issues you may have. Okay, so we'll run overload, and we actually on this play ran belly, so I don't really want to get into the play, but it's just an answer for you if they give you a 9 technique. You can double him, you can bypass him, okay, you can spread them out. If they overload your numbers, use formations. Okay, use formations to do it, or run buck to the weak side. Meantime, we've stuck our tight end on the weak side and our wing on the strong side, and we run buck to what they would consider the weak side. All right, current slide. Let's see if I can get this to, there we go. Okay, can everybody see the screen? Okay. So the other thing we'll do is we get blitzers and shooters. Okay, so these are guys that are going to be like a shooter, or in this case, that's an inside linebacker. And I don't know why people adjust like this. I wish I could get them to keep lining up this way. But they'll put him here, and they brought this other linebacker up, and you can just see what they've got. We were gutting them that week with belly, and so they just put everybody they have inside. So we just call what we call buck stay, because they're overloading us. This is also an answer for if you get overload blitzes in the middle. We call stay, and essentially it turns into long trap, okay? For us, our kids just know it as buck, okay? But we just call stay, and that tells all of our kids that our strong guard is not going to pull, and our quick guard is going to pull and kick. So now we're going to get, I've heard teams call it railroad before, everybody blocks down, okay, and we get a kick out. And so on this one, they line everybody up in there. We call stay, block down, kick out, and boom. Okay, it helps that that corner wants no part of my running back, but even if he did, already tackled me for a gain of 5, which we're okay with. Okay, now the downside of this, if you call this, okay, that you can't block one of the inside linebackers unless he's a blitzer. So if you just call this and they keep that linebacker back, you're going to have an unblocked linebacker because you can't get them blocked with what you're doing right here. All right. So for us, that's a downside if you're going to call stay. We also, guys, before, if we have a 5 technique that's a problem for us, we'll do the same thing where we'll double him with our tight end and our strong tackle. So strong tackle gets vertical push, tight end crushes him down, and then the tackle will come off. But anytime you're getting a double, that can be problems for you, okay? Because it's hard to get off, so you really got to work that if you're going to run double teams. All right. Outnumbered, I'll get to that one later on. That's like more of a backside one. All right. As far as play side, any other issues you guys with? That's a tough 9 technique. They got more guys than you got. They're blitzing. Okay, they got a stud 5 technique. Any other play side issues you guys want me to hit before I move into backside issues? 9 technique. Okay, we got 9 technique. If you get a stud 9, okay, that's wanting to come, I'm assuming inside your tight end wing, which is what we're all probably going to see. Okay, the other thing you can run if you run buck is called log. And so our kids aren't smart enough yet to read it. And so it's kind of a risky play for us, but it's an adjustment we make. We'll just call log. If you're an old buck sweep guy, your kids may already know how to do it. But if he comes flying in there, we'll tell our guy, instead of attacking the correct shoulder, attack the other shoulder on purpose. Let that guy's momentum bring him in and log him and run it wider. And so we're going to allow him, because he's crashing as hard as he wants to crash, come on, and we'll just take you and bury you down, and then our other guard will wrap wide on that, okay? Understand, anytime you do that, though, you know, if that guy stuffs you up in the hole, it's a problem. All right, I'm going to do some backside stuff on this one. Okay. Head up the wing. Yeah, that's tough, guy. Our hardest thing we had a sophomore tight end, was actually a head up 6 that would move. Because our tight end just assumes that he's got to block him wherever he goes, and he'll turn our shoulders and all kinds of stuff. And so to us, okay, you got to make sure that he's understanding blocking down. Okay, so get back on my board here if y'all can see it. So just a real quick deal on play side of buck before I move on to backside. So day one, we're teaching gap down backer right here. All right. So we're going to work all those scenarios. So if we're going to work all the gaps are covered, which I don't know why you would line up like that. But we're going to work them individual drills. That's the gap. Okay. Then we're going to work. We got head ups. So I got a head up and a head up. We're going to work these guys together. The hardest block in the world for him is to not block that guy, because he wants to block that guy because he's sitting there staring at him. Okay, so really teaching your guys, especially my tight end, if I got to, oh, you can't see it here. I'm just going to get closer. Oh, crap. I'm sharing. I'm sitting here drawing and talking and sharing. There we go. Is that better, guys? Okay. All right, so gap down backer would be in the gap. These are the gaps. Down would be head up my buddy. So if this guy's here, I'm actually blocking there. I'm not blocking the guy head up me. And that's tough, okay? Especially if you got a sophomore like I did in here, and that guy lines up there and stunts there, you can't turn because that's problems. We got to get a wave or a wall going. Okay, we usually do okay with a 6 technique with our wing because by alignment, that guy's doing, he's being taught to squeeze. So again, kind of going back to individual drills, when you're breaking them down on film, I don't know where they're going to line up, but I know how they're going to play. Are they upfield players? Or are they squeezers and spillers? If they're squeezers and spillers, we're going to work a whole lot more of actually attacking their back hip. If they're upfield players, they're trying to get penetration upfield, we're going to tighten our splits and we're going to work on coming flatter, okay? What do I tell the tackle on the 5 technique squeeze is the tackle down? Yeah, they're going to grab you. That's what we teach our defensive linemen as well. And so we're working, what you want to teach these guys is they're blocking down right here. We're going to block down, and if that guy disappears, which to me disappears means you didn't get him because he beat you, okay? So you're running to where he's supposed to go, not where he is. So, and then if you don't get him, don't chase. Just go block the next guy. Because what we see a lot of problems with is our linemen who aren't athletic are out there running around chasing guys, and now we're opening up gaps and they're blocking nobody. We just want to get that wall moving with them, okay? All right, I'm going to go to backside because I don't want to run out of time. Go back to share screen here. But keep the questions coming, guys, what this is for. So you guys have them. I want to hear them. Let me see if that'll work. Okay. All right, so backside, we got to deal with backside inside linebackers, 3 or 4 techniques coming down the heel line making plays, or if you're old school wing T and you're not blocking the 5 technique, him coming down and making the play. So those are all different issues that we see and that you may see as well, okay? So we'll move this here. So these are backside issues and how we answer them. Now, we are an RPO team, so our answer is to read them because we're in the gun, okay? If you're under center running shotgun, under center running wing T, probably going to block them with your fullback or your skill players. So I'm going to deal with kind of where we are and how we have to deal with them because we're in the gun. So problem with the inside linebacker, this dude right here, we have 2 answers for him. We're going to read him by throwing the ball where he left, which is called peek. So that's one of our RPOs. So that means this guy right here is going to run to where he is, a little bit deeper. And if that guy wants to go play the buck, we're going to throw it where he left. So that's our first answer. We call it peek. All right. So that's an easy RPO for us. Ball in, ball out. Now that guy's going to have to decide, am I going to go chase buck sweep or am I going to sit home, okay? Because that guy's a problem. We can draw up buck sweep all you want. In my opinion, the hardest guy to block is a backside inside linebacker if he's good, because he can come find gaps and shoot and be a problem for you. Okay, so this team was giving us problems with him, so we called peek. The other one will run to read the same guy. I don't have it on here. Is called key. So key, we're going to read him, but it's a run option. So this year we ran a lot of that because our quarterback this year had a hard time with the RPOs. So what we would do on that is these guys down here would run a screen or something to occupy the outside backer and corner and all that. And our quarterback would stare at the same guy. If he chased we would just pull it and run it to where he left from. Okay, so I wish I'd had that film up here for you, but we'll go here. So if our quarterback sees this guy run right there, he's now going to pull it and then run it. I've got a few other ones where we ran it, but I couldn't find a key one last night when I was trying to throw all this together. Okay, all right, the other guy we're going to have to read. So now we got to read what we consider a 5 technique. So now that 5 technique is squeezing down and making plays for us. Okay, so for us, our base rule with our backside is our quick tackle is going to cut a 3 or a 4. That's how we're going to try to handle him before we start reading him. Okay, we're going to cut him. So now we're going to have to read the other guy outside. So you'll get teams that get what we call an underfront. An underfront. So draw up. Oh crap! You can't see my. Hang on. An underfront is on the backside. We'll get a 3 and a 5. So we'll get that look on the back side. I'm going to try to pull it so I can see a little better. Like that. Okay, a 3 and a 5 on the back side is what we would consider an underfront. And you got to make a decision there because you can't block both of them. You can't. So you got to decide which one am I going to block and which one am I going to read. Okay, for us, a read for us is we're going to read the 5 technique. So we're going to cut or scoop the 3 and read the 5. So on this play, you'll see we paired this with a fast screen. Really, the fast screen was just to occupy. He can throw that if he wants to early, but we're really reading that 5 technique. So you'll see 52 or 62, whatever guy's number this is here. Our quarterback's looking at him, and if he turns his shoulders, it's like zone read. If you're a spread guy and you understand zone read, it's the same concept. Okay, if he chases, we pull, and we run where he left. Okay, so again, we're answering the backside problem of a 5 technique. If that guy wants to fly down and make plays, we're going to pull it and run where he left. Okay, so that's a 5 technique. All right, but the biggest problem that we see is the 3 technique because it's hard to cut him. It's hard to get him blocked. So he makes a lot of plays off the backside that we see. So for us, one of the things we're going to do to handle him, let me pull my chat here, is we're going to run what we call steal. I stole this from the guy in Montana who runs Gun Wing T. Good dude, has a lot of good stuff. So now our quick tackle is going to block the 5 and not block the 3. So the 3 is going to be unblocked, okay? We're not going to block him, or the 4 or whatever he is. He just knows I don't block inside on this, I go block outside. So against a 4 front, it looks like this. So he'll block out and leave that defensive lineman right there unblocked. I know it's hard to see, it's kind of fuzzy. Unblocked. When he squeezes, we pull it, and you look at the hole that's left there. So once he pulls it, there's nothing there. So that 4-eye wants to make a tackle down the heel line. Probably the next thing we're going to do when we run is we're going to run this, and we're going to read him and make a play. Now, formation, I don't want to get into a bunch of that because it's scheme type stuff with you. We're actually squeezed. We run a bunch of jet that night. I think I've got another, let me go back to another version. Now, here's the deal with, I wanted this one up here to show you guys these backside guys. If you can hold them with your RPOs, it opens up the base run. So here's the deal. We're running steal against them right here. Okay, so we're going to block this guy. We're not blocking this guy, but watch what he does because we've run the RPO. Okay, he doesn't come down the heel line now. He has to honor the quarterback pull, so he stays home. The backside inside linebacker, same deal. You know, he's gotten roasted now 2 or 3 times where we've pulled it on him and scored. So now that guy's going, well, I better stay home. And when they do, that's 2 guys you don't have to block. Okay, we're not very good this year blocking buck, and that you film you're watching, but we only got to block 4 of them. Boom, and now I got a corner chasing my running back. That guy's fast, so that worked for me. Okay, we run both. I got a question on here. We run steal and we run peak. I would not run them together simply because you may have a guy right in your quarterback's face. And so we generally will run peak against a 4 front team with a 5 technique. And we usually will run our steals and our other stuff against a 4-eye. So it just gives you kind of some answers of who am I trying to read. If I want the quarterback to run the ball against a 4 front team, we'll call key, and we'll run it to where the inside linebacker is. 3 front teams, we're going to run a whole lot of steal. If they're staying in a 4-eye, we're going to run a whole lot of steal against them. Okay. All right, that's backside answers I've got. Okay. Any other backside questions, guys? Put them in the chat. I'll try to make sure we get them. I want to leave about 10 minutes or so. Who's our quarterback? Quarterback will read the backside four technique. So it'll be this guy back. Can y'all see me? You can't see me. Backside four technique or 3-eye, or I'm sorry, 4-eye or 3. So the guy who's on the quick side, on the tackle, that's who we're reading on steel. If you're going to run steel, the only guy that talks to is the quick tackle. Okay, so the only guy that has to learn anything different is a quick tackle. That's why I'm a huge fan of the RPOs on the backside, is because I don't have to teach the play side lineman anything. Okay, and the tackle really is outside linebacker. Peak route for our slot, we tell him he's got to get inside of the outside linebacker or strong safety or whoever it is, and then we want to show our chest and run at about 70%. We want to show our quarterback our chest, and here's the way I coach him up. So if you run really fast, that safety is going to kill you. Okay, so don't run too fast and don't go too far inside, because if he misreads it, you're going to get killed. So all we got to do is beat whatever defender we have that might be out there inside, and then we want to slow it down to catch it. We'll run a post over top of that. So if the safety comes down to kill it, then we'll throw it over his head. We don't really talk about depth. We do tell our quarterback the ball should be on him at anywhere from 6 to 8 yards. So we don't talk to the receiver about that. That's the quarterback. We do talk to him if you pull it and you realize it's the wrong read, run it. Don't throw it and get him killed or throw a pick. All right, I'm going to move to A-gap issues. So these are issues you're going to have in the A-gap. Let me scoot ahead here. All right, so here's the issues I face in the middle. They can double A-gap blitz, okay, or they can cover A, B, and C, and they can cover all the gaps, okay, which honestly as a wing T, we love seeing that because that's going to be good things for us. Or we got a nose that we just can't handle. We just can't handle that nose. Okay? So I'm going to do the board on how we handle a nose because I was trying to find one. We had a whole year of it and I couldn't figure it out. Before we do that, though, I want to talk about using formations again. So teams that want to overload you, okay, they're going to put a ton of guys in the box. The first thing we do is we go empty. So we're going to go empty now. And how are you going to handle that? Because if you're man 0, somebody's got to cover the number 3. And is that going to be an inside linebacker? And if you do that, then we got some play actions we'll run. Okay? Or a lot of teams we've realized if we go empty, they'll get out of man 0. So if they're in man 0 or man 1 or whatever, they have what we call an empty check. And I don't want to get to a defensive coordinator hat on here, but basically probably day 1, these teams have worked in the empty check. And so when you go empty, even though you're wing T and still run the ball, they're going to check empty. So this team you're looking at right here played man 0 against us all night. When we went empty, that's what they did. I don't know what that is, but we'll take that because now look at what buck sweep looks like to the play side. If my quarterback was willing to get hit, then I'd have run Q buck all night. I never would have even run motion. But he wasn't really a big fan of that. So we ran the same play we had been running to the same – let me go back there. Sorry, guys. Same play we had been running to the same kid that runs buck for us all the time. We just put him in empty, and then apparently I don't know how to work a PowerPoint. Sorry, guys. We just brought him in motion to run it. And now their guy who's been playing force was the safety. All right. He's going to come from the safety spot and play force. Okay, so using formations is one big way you can handle that. And it gets them out of their blitzes too. If you're going empty and they're still bringing a house, that's going to be a big play for you or them. So most teams, when you go empty, you're going to get out of that. All right. Blitzers and shooters, I already showed you this one. So we'll call a stay call. And that's how we'll handle that. I'm going to talk about on the board here behind me how we handle a 1 technique. Okay. So I'm going to stop my share here. Hopefully everybody can see me behind on the board. So we get 1 techniques. Now the other front that we'll see a bunch. Okay. Draw it up as big as I can here. The other front that we'll see a bunch is where they put that nose right there. Everybody see that? Okay, so they put the nose either head up or in a 1, and he's a slanter, and he's killing my center. okay? Usually we don't see a nose and a 3 because, I mean, it's going to be hard to get lined up to our tight end wing. So usually we're going to see a nose, and then there's going to be a tackle right here, and then whatever else is outside, all right? So what we'll do is we'll tell our strong tackle, we're changing your rule to gap down, no backer. So it's gap down, okay? Which means we're not going to get this guy blocked. So understand, if you make this call, you need to have an RPO or some kind of read for that guy because you can't get him blocked. But if you don't block the nose, that doesn't matter anyway, okay? So we're going to go gap down. So the center is just going to try to make sure we get push. Just try to get on the guy, lock on the guy, push him up the field if you can. And then our tackle will step to his back hip, which I'm step to his back butt cheek right there and blow him up. And that turns into a kill shot. But the first 3 or 4 times you run that, you're going to kill that guy, okay? If we get to where we're good enough, we'll try to come off that to that backside backer. But generally, if we call this, we will not be able to make that block. So just kind of giving you a problem and something you're going to have to understand as you're calling plays is if you decide to do that, it's going to be hard for you to come off on that, all right? But it takes care of that. It takes care of that one technique. I've seen teams that want to run midline and read it. We aren't, that's too expensive for me to put in, so we don't run that, but that'd be another option. You could read the nose and just send your center back and try to read him with your quarterback. But to me, that's a lot of expense for something that I don't want to get into. I've also seen some wing T teams that they'll swap responsibility with these guys. We don't do that for personnel issues, but they'll let the tackle pull kick and they'll keep the guard home for the double team. So you get a natural double team and you pull the tackle, okay? And I've seen teams that will flop personnel. So they'll put their strong tackle at strong guard and put their strong guard at strong tackle. So now it's the same kids doing both, okay? So there's plenty of options there you can want to go with. The easiest one in the middle of the game for us is just telling our strong tackle to go block down. But there are other things you can do. Our strong tackles weigh about 300 pounds, and they can't outrun my 7-year-old son. So we don't usually pull them, but we could flop them if we needed to. You may have that ability. We don't have that ability, but that is an answer. I got a question here on center. I don't know how many of my kids are going to watch this. Usually our qualification for playing center for us is, can you snap it? Blocking is secondary. So usually that guy can barely get the snap back there, much less do that. If he could, of course, that'd be great. You pull the guard and the center and backside guard and run buck. It's just pin and pull scheme. And that's the deal, is don't overcomplicate it. But here's what we've learned. This guard and that guard spend every day working pull kick, pull wrap with our running backs. So once you start putting different kids pull kicking, you got to start investing time in them learning how to do that. Then you got to invest time with your running backs working with them. And so that's why we don't. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just one of the reasons we don't do that. All right, guys. So what I've got here, I've got about 10 minutes. Any questions you want me to hit in the chat or anything you want me to draw on the board, now's a good time. Or I got one. I figured I would. 3-3 that slants with a walk-up 9. So Coach Mitchell, make sure I get this drawn up right. And here's how we would. But, guys, again, I'm not the, there's plenty of guys on here that probably the wing T part will know as much as I do. Okay, so we're going to get a nose, I'm guessing a 5-ish, probably that, something like that. And a corner, backer, corner, and I'm guessing the 3 is there. Does that look about right, Coach Mitchell? Okay, can you see that good enough to try to turn this so we can see it good? There we go. All right. Well, first thing we're going to do against a team that's going to run cover 3 is we're going to figure out what they're going to do to flop or empty, okay? Because now if I move this guy over here, that moves the corner out of the box, it moves the free in the box. What if I go empty? Is the corner going to move out of the box if I go empty, okay? Because if I can get the corner to move, they only got one guy right here, and he's their force guy, okay? So he can't come too tight. If he comes too tight, there's no one playing force. So just formational, that's the first thing we're going to look at. Second thing we're going to do is we're either going to read that guy or that guy. We're going to make a decision during the week. Do we want to read him or him? Okay. Is that, how good are they? Do we run steal and read that guy? Or do we run our peak stuff and read that guy? We can do both, but we want to pick which one we want to read. Okay. How we would block this. Okay. I'm assuming they're slanting to strength. Okay. So we're assuming they're going to make the slant. If they don't slant to strength, then our tackle is going to cave that guy all the way into the nose, and we're not going to double because our tackle will block that guy into him. But if they're slanting, which I'm assuming, we're going to block down. We're going to block right here, right here. If that nose is problems, we'll try to go through him to him, and we may start reading him. And then we're going to get a free release right there. Full kick, full wrap. Okay, now here's our adjustment. Oh boy, I'm going to kill myself here, you know, sorry. Here's our adjustment, all right? Let's say we can't get that guy blocked with him because that's realistic, all right? And we're going to go here and work back, and we're going to let our wrapper take care of him. Okay, that's strong 3 technique. I would love this look, by the way, simply because I know this guy's going to stun inside and stuff, but you're dealing with an outside linebacker. The other adjustment you could make, Coach, would be to run what we call trade. So you could line up your tight end wing here and trade them over, because 3 front teams usually have one guy that can handle a tight end wing and one guy that's more of a DB. And so I want to run at the DB. So we may move around, or we may line up our tight end here and run weak. So just different things you can do, okay? Let's see here. RPOs, do we have an automatic? We're attacking RPOs. Coach, is it Boucher, either one. RPOs for us, if we don't call anything, our kids run fast screen out here. And so that's a now. They can throw it right now. And then we tag every RPO. Okay, so we'll tag every RPO. Flop linemen. Yeah, too deep or where. Here's our deal on flopping linemen. We feel like usually, that's a great question, Tom, by the way. By flopping linemen, we feel like we're teaching them less. Now, like you mentioned, you got to have 2 or 3 what we call variety kids or smart kids that can move spots. If you're going to flop linemen, you know, your strong guard, second strong guard might not be that guy. It might be to move this guy there and this guy there. So it does take a little more investing there. However, we feel like our drill time is awesome because they're only working the blocks they're going to make. So like us, a strong tackle is only going to work down block and double team. We don't ask them to do anything else. So that's always going to ever work. Okay, same thing with our other guys. Versus the odd with a 4 on the strong side. So versus odd with a 4 on the strong side. Play side tackle should block. Well, to me, if I got a 4 who's head up my tackle, okay, we're going to go block nose to backside. The only time we would block that 4 is if he were to stun inside the B gap. We don't see that very often. You could do that. We don't see that very often because we run buck, and if you do that, it's just an easier block for us. We have a harder time getting our strong tackle to block second-level players. He usually handles play side guys pretty well. False pull, yeah, Greg, that's a great one. We run false pull with jet. So we'll run jet or Q jet or speed option, and we'll pull this way probably in the first 5 plays of the game. That way I know, are you keying backfield or are you keying guards? Okay, and so it lets me know that real quickly, and it slows them down. However, generally, our RPOs slow this guy down, so he doesn't read guards very often. Okay, now play side guy will read guards all the time. But their backside guy that play us usually won't read our guard because we do too many RPOs. Okay, do I run buck from non-tight end sets? What we would do, the hardest thing for me, I don't understand how guys run buck without at least having a wing. So we kind of erase that. What I mean by that is either you can tighten your slot down or you can put a wing up there, or if they're really good headgear readers, you might be able to log them, okay? But we don't play enough disciplined teams. It scares me. Like what that means is I'm scared to death. This guy's just going to come upfield. You know, how am I going to get him blocked? So we could run inside of him, but that's more of a power play. We would consider that to be power instead of a buck. But you could run it with a flex, okay? So flex your tight end out here where he can get there. but now you're going to have to spend 2 guys on 1 guy to get him moved. To me, if you're going to run buck, the 5 technique, not whatever this is over here, you got to have all kinds of plans to handle because they'll blow it up. If you don't get them blocked, none of the rest of that stuff really matters. You got to get that blocked. So however you want to do it, you just kind of decide. False pull guards, we do false pull both guards on opposite because I want to know they're reading. We can call it, I can't remember what we came up with this year. We called it Joker, was both. I think we called it, I don't know, we called it like Queen or something else. Some other card name was just a quick guard. Just a quick guard would pull opposite. So we could do both. We usually do both. We usually pull them both up. Tight end on H10. Okay, yeah, you can watch Auburn. Whoever, Rich, this is great. If you're wanting to run buck and 10 personnel or 20 personnel, I'd highly recommend all of Gus Malzahn's stuff. He does a ton of stuff where he's blocking buck. Now, here's what I would say about him. I live in buck. He just time. However, he runs a
Thank you. Tell me about it.
It's like I ain't gotta tell you nothing you do.
Yeah.
I'm about to say every time it's 0 in the garage, so that's all right too.
Oh yeah, it couldn't do it without it.
Right? Push on that.
Yeah.
I make it back on here.
Yeah, you're back on, Coach.
All right, guys. Can y'all see me or am I off? My internet. Can I make it back, guys? Oh, we'll see how this works. I don't know what I did. Okay. Sorry, guys. I was doing everything else. All right. Any other questions you guys got? Because I did want to hit anything you guys had. Oh. Whew. All right. All right, guys. Well, if I guess I probably should just stayed off. I don't know if you got any more things you want to go. That's what I've got as far as buck stuff. It's been about an hour. I'm gonna put more stuff out and talk about. Okay, talk about buck with no tight end. Okay. So how many of you guys are? Erase this. Like 20 personnel type stuff. to me, you've got two questions. Let me get them here. Perfect. All right. So if you're going to run buck out of that set, we started playing teams that were big Malzahn guys, which is what he kind of does. One thing you'll need to do, in my opinion, is you're going to run this with no tight end, is you need to also be able to run other plays, because we were able to pick up on the fact that when the wing went outside, it was buck. And when he was inside, it was belly or whatever, other power or whatever it was going to be. And they would move him, and so our kids would just jump all over it. But, yeah, you can run buck out of this set all day. It's the same teaching points. So if you got a 5 technique, it's the same thing. You can run bypass or block that guy. You can get the double, whatever you want. You're probably going to end up with something along the lines of that, okay? Or you may have a 3 technique. Either way, I would teach gap down backer with these two guys. There's your pull kick, and there's your pull wrap. It doesn't change anything, I don't think, okay? Big on buck. Todd asked, I run a ton of, my backside series is jet. So we'll run jet, but we run jet different. So we run it very similar to like how we run buck. We just tighten our receivers up a little bit. They'll crack, and we'll kick with the fullback. So we'll run jet back the other way to our wing, and then we run belly both ways. Belly with the quarterback weak, belly with the running back strong, and our version of belly is a little different. I think I've got some of that stuff on YouTube or Twitter. But I live in a rule of 3, so we have 3 series. Q, quick tackle steps. Hinges us we call read. Reedy runs the linebacker. That's correct. So like for us, if we don't call anything, he's blocking inside gap. And if nothing is there, he hinges back and takes care of whatever comes off the edge. So that we're trying to protect ourselves against a blitzer or a stunner, okay? We do run a little bit of trap. It's not been great to us because we're in the gun. And so it just doesn't hit as quick. It's an expensive play to do. We would run it with our quarterback. So we would flash. We do run guts. Let me give you all, you guys stayed on here a little longer. I give you a false pull play that always looks good, and for whatever reason has not been great to me. Maybe it'd be good for you. It's an old school wing T play. We'll run gut. Okay, so that means all the guys on the team are blocking belly, which for us is strong, like ISO kind of. All right, so we're gonna block here. I like it against a forefront better, so I'm gonna give you that. Okay. We'll get this guy will fight us because he thinks it's buck sweep. We'll block belly. We're gonna pull. We're gonna pull and wrap right there. He'll disappear, so it ends up blocking there. Step hinge, and the quarterback will fake it and run gut. It's the old school influence play that you guys can run. Belly, yeah, I'll do a belly if y'all want to listen to belly. I'm actually just finished. I'm doing those whatever those videos, Coach 2 videos, and on belly, so I can do whatever y'all want to do on that one. Trying to get stuff organized, which is helping me. So I'll hit. Do y'all want strong belly or weak belly or both? Both. Okay. We run strong belly generally with our quarterback. I'm sorry, strong belly usually with our running back, and quick belly with our quarterback, but we can flip it and just tag it. Everything in our offense is taggable. So like we've been talking buck, we can run Q buck, which is not a brain surgeon, that's quarterback. We can run train motion, which is our A, and our slot will run buck, okay? And so we can run it with anybody. So same thing with belly, which is called belly, or we'll call Q belly, or we'll call B belly. B is our wing, okay? And then the same thing when we run jet. Okay, so our offense is all about really simple and then tags. You know, teach the lineman as little as you can and get really good at it, and then dress it up back here with your other guys. Because the world I come from, I got like 3 kids that are smart enough to, really handle more than that. I don't know about you guys. All right, any other questions, guys, before I let y'all? I know y'all probably got other stuff you gotta go hit. So. Quick side trap. We don't run quick side trap.